Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the Grove podcast. Thank you so much for joining us again. Before I introduce my lovely guests, I need a quick favour from everyone, please, if possible. I need you to hit the like button, the follow button, the share button, the comment button, and write a comment, obviously, on wherever you're getting this podcast. It will help us massively grow, reach who we need to reach, and grow as a podcast as well. So I really appreciate it. But without further ado, as you guys all know, and as you girls all know, my name is Moz. I'm your host. And today, as I said last week, Tom was culled from the podcast, and we have his fabulous assistant, or replacement, shall we say, Chi. Welcome to the pod. How are you?
Cheers, Moz. Very good, thank you.
Very good. Andrea, you're back for more?
Yeah, looking forward to it. Good afternoon, everyone.
And Whale, how are you?
Good day, sirs. I am very well, thank you.
What was that? Right, okay.
Just keeping it light. Just keeping it light.
Okay, cool. So, we won 5-0 against Palace, as everyone knows now. We've spoken about it long enough. I've listened to it about 40 times as well, the most recent episode. So, Forest next. Now, when we say Forest, I don't want us to think ahead of the other team that play in red, right? I need us to think solely about Forest and what we're looking forward to in the game. For me personally, it's taking 3 points, it's scoring another 5 goals, and just cementing a place towards the top of the table again. Chi, what are your thoughts?
So I think for this game, I think it's really important we get a win at the Sea Ground, because it's a ground we've struggled on quite a bit. So yeah, I'd like us to really go there, dominate the game, and just get some goals as well. I think we need to get some away goals going, and that will help us get back to winning ways away from home. So yeah, I think it's a big game, but it's going to be a challenge.
Yeah, couple of things. I'm more in the I'm not looking forward to certain things, so I'll let the other guys keep it positive. For me, it's I'm not looking forward to the scrutiny of our corners by the refs. All of a sudden, we did something a bit different, and suddenly Trossard and Ben White may be a bit more under scrutiny. Also, I always hate it when we're the underdog, because the commentators always... not the underdog. I always hate it when we're playing underdog, especially away. The commentators, they're going to all be big on whatever Forest do well, and anything we do bad, they're going to be sort of like lapping that up. So that sort of winds me up a bit. And I really don't want it to be a close game. It would be nice, just like last time out against Palace. 2-0 at half time, 3-0. Yeah, so those are the things I'm not looking forward to it being close to commentators or the scrutiny of our calls.
Well, be positive for me, please. Say something nice, something good.
I can do that. Where we're at, I'm not that far for you, Miles, really. I'm looking forward to getting back to winning ways, and with that, being able to start a win streak. Because I think that's important for this team, is to get some W's, get some wins under our belt, at least get a tiny bit of momentum leading up to obviously the game after, which we'll sort of discuss a bit later. But yeah, I'm just looking forward.
Or would you not? I told you guys not to mention that. I said, don't think about the other team that play in red.
Yeah, but again, we'll get into that earlier. That's you can coach your players up, but it's really like you're going to think about it. But that doesn't mean that you discount the team in front of you. But you're going to be thinking about the other team. Like that's just part of it. You can't not. If not, in my opinion, you're not even fully preparing correctly. If Arteta has been doing any sort of scout work or players or board work on Liverpool, I'd be very disappointed.
Yeah, I'm assuming professional teams will scout, a few games ahead and have analysts looking at, for example, right now Liverpool are playing Norwich. Analysts will be looking at a game, looking at how they line up, and the fact that Trent Alexander-Arnold is back, Andy Robertson's back. So they'll probably be looking into that a little bit. But for me personally, like I say, I'm just looking forward to, as you guys allude to, getting back to winning ways, beating Forest away from home. But I'm the optimist. I just can't see anything past another drubbing. I really can. I don't think Forest are anywhere near as good as what we can be on our day. And if we're firing on all cylinders, I can't see anything more than a 3 or a 4-0 win. I really can't. Speaking of that though, how do you guys think we will approach the game, and how do you think we'll play with obviously the other game in mind? Do you think that Arteta will line up as strong as possible and go for the win? Yeah. Or Andrea, I mean, I know you've had some thoughts on this, so what do you reckon? Same approach or a different tactic?
No, I don't expect him to change anything much. If anything at all, you know, if everyone's available and fit, and we may touch upon that later, yeah, I think it'll be the same as against Palace. We'll try and do what we do: dominate possession, take advantage of open spaces, especially because I think Forest have been a bit more attacking since Nuno took over. So hopefully that would mean then there's more space for us to take advantage of. I think what it'd be nice for us to see a bit, and I think we started to do this against Palace, was to draw the teams out a bit. So at the moment, you know, we try and press high up, but then. And I think teams have got used to that, and then maybe we're not taking advantage of that more. So maybe as a way to approach this better, and I think we look at it maybe nearer towards halfway in the half or towards the halfway line, we let them come out a bit, and then we press, and then we tack, and then that means there's space behind for us to take advantage of. I think sometimes when we press higher up, maybe we're not getting as much of the space and the opportunity to take advantage of that. So I think, and then there's also maybe more of us around to then basically feed off each other with that. So that's what I think it'd be nice to see that. And then there's the other thing. Again, I sort of touched on it. What I was looking forward to or not looking forward to the game is around our amazing new corners. You know, this all of a sudden we've reinvented the corner, and it'll be interesting to see what happens there. You know, are we going to change things up? Will the refs be on the lookout for it? I mean, look, all teams do it. It's part and parcel of how you do it, blocking and stuff like that. But you know what it's like. It gets highlighted by the Premier League. It gets highlighted by Match of the Day. And refs are human, so they'll see it. Now, I was sort of, in a way, I hate to mention the City Spurs game, but I was pleased that goal was given, because, to be honest, he did nothing wrong. And I hope it sort of stays like that. So it'll be interesting to see what comes from that, and then I hope Odegaard's socks, you know, withstand the pressure of all the pulling up and pulling down. So so with all the setting up each corner and giving all these secret messages and stuff like that. So that'll be interesting to see. But yeah, I think it'll be a typical Arsenal approach to this, and let's see what Forest have to defend against that.
It's interesting that you say about drawing them out, because I really think we can exploit them with our pace. Having Martinelli or Trossard on one side and Saka on the other, I really think this is a chance for us to, if we draw them out to our halfway line, for example, we really can exploit them with our pace. We have such, probably one of the fastest, paciest, I was going to say paciest is a word, right? But we're probably one of the fastest teams in the league, I would say, in terms of the players we have at our disposal. And that was evident last year, I guess, when we looked at the speed of our attacks, especially against the likes of Liverpool and Chelsea. Those games particularly stand out. In terms of team news and updates, I know you've been having a look and you've been scouting the training pictures with a magnifying glass to see in the background if you can see like a blurred out Gabriel or a blurred out Declan Rice. I know there was loads of pictures of Thomas Partey in training, but tell us what you know, Statman Whale.
No, I will tell you what I know, but I did just want to briefly touch on what Tabs just said a little while ago. And, how I agree with that, but against the stronger sides. I think we definitely need to take that approach against some of the bigger teams. But against this team, Nottingham Forest, I would just like to see us sort of be a bit more aggressive. I'd like to see a scoreline, like Maud said, and just really sort of smother them and just get this game done in the first half. Really aggressive. And that's that basically. That's my wish. But for the team news and who's about, I did read an article saying that Rice and Big Gabby were training. How seriously they were training or Arteta's got in mind, who knows? We know he likes to keep his cards close to the chest. Myself personally, if Big Gabby's sort of 90%, I'm happy for him to play. But unless Rice is 100%, I don't want to see him play. I don't think it's worth risking it against this level of opponent. If he's not 100%, I'd just like to see him sit, bring on if 100% need be. And Partey, I'd really like to see get a start here. I think he's had enough rest. I'd really like to see him in the game.
Do you think Partey's fit enough to start? He's only just come back to training.
He would have been doing bike work, so he'd have been on the exercise bike. He would have. I appreciate he's only just come back to training, but I mean, again, this is all sort of, I think this, I think that. Obviously, I haven't been out there to see him running around, so those guys are going to be the best place to sort of know what his fitness level is. But I mean, he's a professional athlete. I know he hasn't been playing, but I have to think he just hasn't been sitting on the couch eating like potato chips. Like he's got to do some. He's still a pro athlete.
No, I think
it includes cardio as well.
Yeah, I think it's game readiness, and I would say we also have to be careful with Partey because we know he's made of glass, So he's hardly played for us this season because of injury. So I'm just maybe a bit more susceptible. And your point about Rice, again, I think you alluded to it last week. You said this is a game that we have to focus on and we can't think about it. Moz is saying about it. The game against Paul means nothing if we don't win this. So, maybe we do have to put our strongest team out now and Partey will be more ready for the Liverpool game, should there be an issue with Rice. So,
Thomas Partey has not been sitting on the sofa eating. Even the word potato chips as a Scotsman is really weird, but it's crisps. Can we just get that one thing straight? It's just crisps, right? But Thomas Partey has not been sitting on the sofa eating crisps. He has been changing nappies. And Thomas Partey, I know you're listening to the podcast. Everyone else is. I know everyone that's listening right now follows at the Grove AFC, Thomas Partey included. So yeah, well done. Congratulations, I guess, on your newborn. And please let us know if you are going to start on Tuesday. And everyone follow the pod. Just had to plug that in again at one point because it's been about 10 minutes. Everyone needs to follow us and like and share. So in terms of the break, it feels like, I think we spoke about this last time as well, right? In the first episode, we had a lovely break in Dubai and we've now had what seems like another similar length break again. And I'm just wanting, Chi, if you want to allude to your thoughts on, do you think the break will have helped, or do you think after winning 5-0 against Palace, would have been better just to play again a few days later and kick on and go again?
Yeah, well, ideally, I think we would be playing in the FA Cup this weekend, right? So, yeah, I think playing games helps you build momentum and consistency. So, yeah, I definitely would have preferred to have had the game for sure. But yeah, at the same time, we've only just come back from Dubai, obviously, so they've had a lot of rest there. So we obviously know there's lots of games coming up as well, so maybe it's not a bad thing to kind of ease in gently, get those little niggles out. Like I said, we've got Partey coming back as well. I doubt he's gonna start. I think if you look at how City managed De Bruyne, like they just gave him some minutes to start with. I think especially when you've been out for that length of time as well, we're looking at 4 months or so. So yeah, definitely ease them in gently, I'd say.
You guys think we've got a lot of games, but from Forest until Newcastle, which is so 30th of January until the 24th of February, I'm not including any games after that, they're in March. We only have Forest, Liverpool, West Ham, Burnley, Porto, Newcastle. So it's not a massive amount of games, but I would say it's important games that I think we really need to win. So Liverpool, obviously a tough game. West Ham will be a tough game. Porto and then Newcastle, again, both very, very tough games. So yeah, I do tend to agree. I think it might have been better having, Forest earlier on maybe potentially this weekend if the FA Cup weekend wasn't on, but it is. And the break, like you say, might be good for the likes of Big Gabby, Rice, Thomas Partey. So yeah, I fully agree with that. Just in terms of my thoughts, just wanted to give my thoughts on the injury situation and that kind of thing. It'll be really interesting to hear what Mikel Arteta says in his pre-match press conference, which I'm assuming will be on Monday, the day after this podcast is being recorded. It'll be interesting to see what he says if he does keep his cards close to his chest on these players, because you don't want to give anything away, right, to your opponents. And at the same time, you want to send a message out to the players that just because you're coming back from injury, if you are Thomas Partey, for example, and Declan Rice is potentially carrying a little bit of a knock, do you want to just tell Thomas Partey that, yeah, there you go, there's your place back in the team? I mean, would you do that if you were I don't know if Arteta would do that, to be honest.
Arteta's very coy in his press conferences. It's just for media. It's just to show up, unless it's absolutely blindingly obvious, like, oh yes, we're without Tomiyasu. Well, of course, we're without Malinelli. Well, of course, but he never gives anything away. And as a thing, why would he? We would love to know as fans, but unfortunately, his number one priority is for his club, and he'll do everything he can to gain an advantage. So he'll just say, yes, we'll look at them, late tests, etc., etc. Yeah, he's never one to give anything big away. I've never known him to do that, and I've never known any manager to do that, to be honest. So it's just, yeah, it would just be a bit of lip service to the media without us really knowing until an hour before kickoff when X goes mental because he hasn't picked whichever player. So
it's crazy how you call it X. I just haven't got used to that. But it's funny because everyone thinks that Tom's been culled from the pod in favour of Chi, but that's not true. Tom is actually on a scouting mission at London Colney, and he's been sent. The Grove AFC, the socials went crazy, and we managed to raise so much that we've sent Tom on a scouting mission down to London Colney, and he's scouting from the bushes to see whether Rice and Big Gabby are actually training or not. So that's where our money goes to. You can donate if you want at the Grove AFC. No, I'm just joking. I'm not going to plug the podcast again a third time. So I wanted to touch on as well just stats about the game. So we all know everything about Arsenal, right? We know everything about the club to a point where we could, rhyme off stats and players and everything. But we don't really know much about Forest. So I believe, Chi, you have kind of gathered a few stats together, and you want to talk stats, which is fair enough. I mean, let me ask you this then, right? Based on the stats you've seen, tell me about Forest's form and potentially any form players that they have, aside from that Chris Wood, who seems to be about 45 years old and still scoring goals. Talk to me.
So they beat United on the 30th of December, so just before the new year. So that was a 2-1 win at home. But before that, they'd actually lost their last 5 Premier League games. So they lost to Brighton, Everton, Spurs, and Bournemouth as well just before Christmas. So yeah, but they've won their last 2, so they've just kind of turned that corner. Obviously every team goes through a spell where they struggle to get points on the board. So they've kind of just turned that corner. Obviously they'll be confident after winning against United. That's obviously one of the traditional big 6 teams that they won against. So I think it's going to be tougher than we might hope for.
Forest beat United almost a month ago. Since then, I don't think they've done very well. They drew 2-2 against Blackpool in the FA Cup, then beat them 3-2 in the replay, which I think they had to score. I think that 45-year-old Chris Wood had to score in extra time, didn't he, to win it for them. Then they lost 3-2 to Brentford in the league, and then they just drew on this weekend with Bristol City. So I think that goes to another replay, doesn't it, again now? So in terms of their league form, it's kind of been up and down, but I mean, anyone can beat United now, right? So that's why I'm not worried about us playing them. I know that United lost 2-1, but United are United. Like, come on now. Surely we're not taking that result seriously, and we're thinking that Forest are some world beaters now, right?
No, it's not just that, but the game 4 days prior, I believe, they beat Newcastle 3-1 at Newcastle. So like you put that together with United and the fact that they beat us the last 3 times at their grounds. If I'm their coach, I've got those guys hyped up. I've got them confident. Now, whether that's going to play out and they win the game, they shouldn't because we're a better side. But they're in decent form and they've beaten us there the last 3 times.
I think they only beat Newcastle because half the Newcastle players were really busy in their hotel and up to their shenanigans.
That may be.
I won't mention any allegations because they're innocent until proven guilty, right? So, as we all know.
I don't think you can dismiss them. I think you still got to go. Okay, we didn't beat Newcastle, and so on. So I don't think you can dismiss it. Yeah, you're right. Up and down. I see it. They see it as in a way. I think they may see it, as a one-off, and the crowd will be up for it. It's under the lights at night time. At home, they'll do everything to make it difficult. As you said, we've lost 3 times there, so we might have that in our heads. They'll have that in their heads. Confident. They got some players coming back from injury. I believe Gibbs White may be coming back. Chris Woods, as you say, is on form. I think 5 in the last 4. I mean, okay, 3 goals were padded out at Newcastle, but he's there. They got an attacking threat with Hudson-Odoi and Elanga. I'm pleased that Womni's not playing because he's a big threat, and we didn't like playing him at the open game of the season. So, yeah, it's one of these ones where maybe, as you said, that okay, you got the underlying stats, but maybe those don't matter for this game, this game, because the FA Cup you can isolate, So I think it'll be tricky, and some of those stats may not count for anything on the night.
I think the only thing that Forest will be playing for is relegation, because if, as we've seen in the news, it's been announced that they have been cited and they're under investigation along with Everton again for breaches of financial fair play and that kind of thing. I think if they are deducted 10 points, like I mentioned, I believe last week on the pod, they'll be rock bottom along with Sheffield United. So that could be something that's like a banana skin for us in terms of their performance. Just I had a look earlier on about injuries and that kind of thing for Forest. Looks like Anthony Elanga is ready to come back, but Divock Origi and Taiwo, I can never say his last name, Awoniyi, they're not expected back until March, so we should be okay with that. And they've got quite a few players on international duty as well. I think Forest have the most out of any club in the Premier League. They've got 6 players out for international duty. So for me, I just think we will be too strong for them. I do, even the fact that we lost 3 games in a bounce at the Forest ground, I just can't see anything past a win. I really can't. Famous last words when we're recording the podcast after the game, which you can all listen to, obviously, on our social media at the Grove AFC. I didn't mean that plug, by the way, I promise. But it's famous last words when we've lost 7-0 and we've had 3 red cards, and Arteta's been banned for 4 games for sneezing on the touchline.
Look, it's down to us. It's us. We do our job right. We win the game. I think that you can only look at we can only look at ourselves. So that's what I'd put. So they have some threats, but as I said, it's down to us. It's down to how we play. We take advantage, of the spaces they give us. We play well. We play as a team. We use our subs well. Yeah, it should be fine. But I tell you one thing that's guaranteed: Matt Turner will suddenly turn into Dino's off and become the best goalkeeper for 24 hours. There's always the typical thing of the returning player. Watch out for Matt the Cat Turner on Tuesday night.
I wonder if he will be as much of a shithouse as Emi Martinez.
And he's too nice guy. Matt Turner doesn't have him in. He's a nice. As a Martinez, you see him. He's a
gooner as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he loved him. So I don't think he'll play well, but no, he doesn't do the shit. I'm sorry.
Did you guys see that Matt Turner? This is so off topic, but Matt Turner did his baby gender reveal at the Emirates before he left. Obviously, not whilst he was a Forest player. That'd be really weird. But it was just like a like he was a fan of the club, and it was just heartwarming to see a player loves the club that much. And I feel sorry for him it didn't work out at Arsenal, to be honest, but I just don't think he was what we were looking for. I think it was a great signing to boost our fan base in the States, but I don't think overall it was what we were looking for. Not a bad keeper though, by any stretch of the imagination.
I mean, Wale, how is he for the US? I mean, from the previous World Cup, he looked pretty solid and stuff. But yeah, how is he for the US national team?
Boy, I'll tell you right now, I barely even watch the US national team. But what I can say is that it's just different levels and different expectations. Like even with like the popularity of the sport there now, I mean, it's much more than it was like when I was growing up. But it doesn't matter if they do very well or not. And he can be perfectly fine for them, but nowhere near fine to play for, a club like Arsenal in the Prem. So yeah, I mean, he's decent. But as long as our best athletes go and play in the NFL and the NBA and shoot even baseball to a lesser extent, I don't look at us getting any sort of worldly keeper for a long time, to be fair. I think they're pretty much all going to be at his level, which is fine for Forest.
I think Odysseus, I'm hoping I get this right, Odysseus Vlachodimos, the other keeper that Forest signed, looked quite good as well. And I think now that Nuno has come into the to manage Forest, I think he trusts Matt Turner more, potentially because he has Premier League experience and Vlachodimos does not. So that's potentially a reason why Matt Turner seems to be starting the games for Forest as of late. But yeah, let's move on. We've spoken enough about Forest. We all know we're going to win, and Wales being as positive as ever, and admitted to he's basically insulted his whole country by saying he doesn't watch the US national team. So apologies to any American listeners. We will banish him from the next episode, shall we? And send him down to London Colney with Tom. One by one, the Grove is losing his members, but no, just joking. Let's move on to part 2 of the podcast. Welcome back to part 2 of the Grove podcast. In this section, we're going to do something a little bit different this week. There was a bit of a heated debate, shall we say, in our WhatsApp group earlier on this week between two members who are on this podcast, and we're not in person, so we can't have an official or an unofficial boxing match to settle this. So until
all right, Wales would win that one easy. It's fine. I'm conceding.
Until that boxing match does happen, which we will raise for charity, and all proceeds will go to charity, but it will be streamed on at the Grove AFC. That's was it the fifth plug of the night? I'm going to do this until all the listeners follow and like and share the posts on social media. But yeah, Andrea, do you want to take this away on why you guys had a heated discussion, what it was about, and Wale, I'll let you say your piece. I'm going to put my microphone on mute so I don't get involved and follow you guys. So take it away, Andrea.
It was just following the Carabao Cup. So we had the semi-finals this week, and yeah, unfortunately Chelsea got through to the final, and Liverpool, did as well. So the topic came up. Wales said, "Oh man, that was a missed opportunity for silverware." Whereas I'm thinking the opposite. So look, I'll hand it over to Wales to give his piece, and then I'll respectfully disagree and let him know why I'm right and he's wrong. And then Chi, you can chime in on my side whenever you want.
Yeah, there we go. That sounds great. Yeah, to be fair, I don't think we think too differently. It's just the fact that I don't think that any competition or trophy silverware is beneath us at this point. And when you're looking at what in reality, are trophies that we can win, like the 2 domestic cups pop up individually. Yeah, of course you want to shoot for the stars, shoot for the moon if you get to the stars, whatever. But like the Prem and the Champions League, they're really nice, but we'd have to get such a good draw, go on such a great run to win the Champions League. It'd be fantastic, but it's not as it's not as much of a reality as essentially us competing for the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup. Same thing with the Prem. I challenge anyone to tell me that we'd be disappointed if we don't win the Prem, we don't win the Champions League, but we get the double with the League Cup and the FA Cup. That'd be a fantastic season for us. So I just feel that we should just put a little bit more time on it. I mean, I think Liverpool is a good example. You look at Liverpool this year, and they're not that different from us last year. They have 4 competitions. Yeah, the European one is the Europa, but they're freaking going for it. Like, yeah, you can say maybe they have a bigger squad, this and that, and maybe they do marginally. But this is what I think happens when your manager is just a step up, when you have an elite manager, because he's got them in all four competitions, believing they could win it. And I don't really see a difference in their performance and their side in any of these competitions that they're in. Like, I don't see them going to West Ham, playing the side that we did, and having that sort of outcome. And so it's just a little disappointing, man. I don't even like the term ambition. It's just about, what could you realistically win? What are your highest odds on? It doesn't matter to me that the Carabao Cup, you only get 2 million quid or whatever it is. I don't care about that. I just want to win it, get our guys used to winning things. So we'll see how it goes. I'll throw it back to Tabs, and you can tell me why I'm wrong. But I just want to win stuff.
No, I understand. I think we all want to win stuff, but it's at the expense of what? And really, what are our true ambitions? So there's a couple of things, like, Liverpool, I think it was a couple of years back, 2-3 years back, they were in all 4 competitions and they failed on all 4 fronts. I believe, I haven't got stats to hand. Or you look at Man United, they won the Carabao Cup last year, but they're still crap. And who wants to be, Man United fan? Who wants to be in their position? No one's going back, well, we won the Carabao Cup last year. That is, I think, is irrelevant to the fans. So yes, it was a nice day out, but they're not falling back.
So winning a trophy is irrelevant. I wouldn't say it's irrelevant. Irrelevant.
It's at the expense of what? So I would rather be
not winning the Prem. Like, we probably weren't going to do it.
I'd rather we have finished second and did what we did last year than be in Man United's position, win the Carabao Cup, and be Man United.
So you cover your head off by saying in United's position. No, leave that part out and just say the trophy that they got.
No, okay, but anyway, but it's expensive. So I'd say I'd rather finish second in the league than win the Carabao Cup if it meant that we're finished 4th or we finished 5th and things like that. And that's where I am with this, because also we don't know what's happening. We don't know what's going to happen with Liverpool. Yes, they're in it, but imagine if they lose out on the Prem, or it really cuts their opportunities down. And if you look at the injuries we had this year over the Christmas period, we would have had to play Liverpool in the league, in the Carabao Cup. I think it was before we played them in the league, and then we would have had a two-headed semi-final coming up, and we're already stretched as a squad as it is, and it potentially wouldn't mean we've had that break in Dubai and so on. So I think bigger picture, yes, it's nice to win it, but not at the expense of other potential opportunities. Now, you never know where you're going to win it. You can't guarantee, well, if we get knocked out of this, then we will win that. It's more a case of, I'm not that phased by it. Even with the FA Cup, that would have been nice, and that's a bit more frustrating. But the way we went out and all the rest, and that was it. Okay, I can take that. If it means we give ourselves the best opportunity at the Champions League and then at the league, there are no guarantees, but I would rather give myself the best chance and opportunity at the expense of something like the Carabao Cup. As at our stage in our development now, once we get that all-conquering squad and we've got two first 11s, fine. But until then, we have to prioritize. We have to prioritize.
We had that attitude last year. Sorry, Miles. We had that attitude last year where we only went for a couple things and won nothing. So I'd rather go for everything and win nothing than go for a couple things and still win nothing. Like the Liverpool team I'm talking about, as you say, is this year, and maybe they'll end up with nothing. But I will know that they went for it. They didn't prioritize 2 and lose 4. I don't.
It's fine. That is, that's your view and my view. Yeah. And I think I think it divides the whole of the Arsenal community, and it divides it. You know, there's no right or wrong here. It's just two different approaches. Sorry, Moz. Yeah,
I've had the reason why these guys are saying sorry is I took myself off mute. I've had my hand up like a nice, polite Scotsman, waiting for my turn to speak. I just wanted to add one thing to that. So funny hearing you guys argue about something so meaningless than the Carabao Cup. The cup named after an energy drink that no one even tries. It's not even called the Red Cup.
Don't let the sponsor get a trip. It's the League Cup. For me,
it's always going to be the Milk Cup.
But I just want to say one thing, and then Chi, you can take sides, because I'm not going to take sides, because I agree with both of you guys, right? But it's telling that Man U won the League Cup, the Diddy Cup, the Carabao, whatever you want to call it, right? They won this last year, and they never even made it to the Community Shield. And we finished second in the league, never won a trophy, and we still made it to the Community Shield. That just shows you the importance that the FA or whoever it is that decides about the Community Shield teams that participate, it shows you the importance of the League Cup, where the winner doesn't even get the chance to play in the Community Shield. And Andrea, you mentioned, no Man U fan is going on about the Carabao Cup. Well, I have a friend, a very good friend, sadly, that is a Man U fan, and he has not shut up about this since it happened, because he keeps referring back to they've won a trophy more recently than Arsenal, and it's so annoying. But
it's not a lie.
I was listening. Well,
it's a fact.
Yeah,
it sounds like sour grapes when people are like, oh, the trophy doesn't mean anything. Yeah, probably because we haven't won it forever, and we didn't win anything. So to be like, oh, that thing that we can't get, it's worthless.
Well, that shows you the expectations they have, and that their bar is so low that they will like, you know, chime on about a Carabao Cup win. You know, we won the FA Cup, but in Arteta's first season, that's very quickly forgotten. No one's, you know, it's not forgotten. Well, I say it's a nice memory. It was COVID time, but you know, we're focusing on bigger and better things.
Chi, don't even get involved.
Bigger fish to fries. Yeah.
Chi is just sitting there. I can just see him on the camera. He doesn't even want to get involved. He doesn't want an opinion because he doesn't want to offend either of you guys.
No, I want to hear what Chi has to say.
Go on, then. Go on, Chi.
Yeah, do you have to say?
Okay. So I just started following an account today. It's days since a trophy, and it's counting the days since Spurs last won a trophy, and it's 5,817. So it's quite funny that I don't want Arsenal to be that club, right, where people are creating social media accounts laughing how long since we win a trophy. So as a general principle, I think I agree with what Wow's saying. The only thing I'd caveat that with was this season, if we'd beaten West Ham in the Carabao Cup, we would have had to go to Anfield and win, which I think is a very difficult thing to do, as we well know. So I think wasn't a bad thing to have gone out of it this season, but as a general principle, I think we should be trying to win as many trophies as we can, and we can't really be picking and choosing, I don't think.
Do you guys, let me ask you something kind of related but kind of unrelated as well. Do you guys think if Liverpool win the Europa League, the Premier League, the FA Cup, and the Carabao Cup, that'll be a better season than Man City last year winning the Champions League, Premier League, FA Cup?
No. Champions League is...
Oh, for God's sake. That's another podcast. Who has the better season? If Liverpool win the quad, but the unofficial quad, well, is that your excuse out, Wales? Is that your phone ringing to... I think his phone was ringing there and he's quickly gone on mute.
Yeah, it's me. Rubbish.
Yeah. Right. Let's move on from that, because I think you guys could argue until the cows come home about this. So there was a little issue of the fans forum being held, right, since we've last recorded the pod, and there was some good points about the ballot system, which I really don't want to go into because it's just so, the logistics and the way the ballot system works just baffles me to this day. But I know there was parts of the atmosphere, and if you can hear that in the background, I don't think you will be able to, but there's an ice cream van that is parked right outside my house, just as I say the word atmosphere. So
I love the
you talk,
please.
Well, you talk, Andrea, and I'm out to get a 99. I'm not. Go for it.
Thank you. Thanks, Miles. We touched on it last week about atmosphere. You know, you were shouting out on the way to the stadium, and there's a lack of response. And look, I just wanted to follow up on that topic around the atmosphere in and around the Emirates this season. And as you said, there was a fans forum where the topics like atmosphere at the grounds was discussed, even things like the Ashburton Army allocation. And also Arsenal this week have been in touch with a number of supporters clubs asking them about ways to improve the atmosphere at the ground this season. Now, look, I don't want to go off on a bit of a rant, but excuse me if I do, because I get very frustrated with the discourse, particularly on social media, around this topic, and it sort of just frustrates me now. I'm not saying I'm right or wrong. It's just an opinion, and everyone's got an opinion, but I just feel it's not binary. Everybody's treating it very like a single thing. You know, they're making it very reductive. You know, it's the ballots, it's the reduction in the Ashburton Army allocation, it's tourist fans, whatever that is. You know. But I feel it comes from either a place of privilege, like you're a season ticket holder, so it's very easy for you to say some certain things, or frustration because you're negatively impacted by the ballot or not being able to get tickets, or just not a willingness to understand something that is quite nuanced, or where we are as a team this season, last season. You know, and the main thing you hear is, last season's atmosphere was so much better, and it was fantastic. It was amazing. I mean, it's some of the best fun, if not the best fun I've had at supporting Arsenal. It was just brilliant and amazing, and I think we all felt that. But for me, it's just the nature of the nature and the circumstances around how last year came about and how it played out that is nigh on impossible to sustain or repeat. I mean, we came back and we were really happy to return to full stadiums following COVID. So we had that. We're back seeing live football, you know, irrespective of the quality, you know, we're just back from that. So everyone's on a high from COVID. Yeah, the team leapt from challenging for fourth place, for fifth place, for Champions League places, to challenging for a title, not challenging for Carabao Cup, challenging for a title. We were on 100 points pace. You know, I think you said it last week. It felt like every home match there was sunshine. You know, we scored last second winners. We had a new style of play. We had quality players, and then we had young players like Nelly and Saka coming in and doing incredibly well. And then on top of that, you got the Xhaka redemption arc and Ramsdale saves and his character and so on. And it was just glorious. But that was then, and we are where we are now. And those highs and those feelings, you know, not sustainable. It's just the nature of highs and lows, you know, and with every high, there's always going to be a relative dip. Also this year, since we also have higher expectations, we are no longer, and nor should we ever be, the underdog. Yes, last year felt very much an underdog sensation for me. And then because of that, because of the higher expectations, because we're not the underdog, there's an element of fear as well. And fear drives certain emotions, certain anxieties. In people, it expresses itself in a certain way. You know, people are more tense at matches, you know, because, as I said, I think last week, you know, just to keep the pace with the likes of City, every game matters to, you know, so much. You know, our style of play is actually more pragmatic, but more sustainable, but pragmatic, different, less frenetic. I mean, we're doing well. We are firing. We're not particularly firing on all cylinders, but we're still playing at a very, very high level. So unless we turn into City overnight, I think to keep our sanity, our health, and also to keep enjoyment going, because I feel like, you know, people tend now, you know, are not enjoying it as much, and you've got to enjoy it. You've got to enjoy the games. What's the point otherwise? You know, we need to a certain extent forget last season and then enjoy those memories. They were great, but not use it as a reference point, and focus on the here and now and the trajectory that we're on, and enjoy that for what it is. I mean, we're in a title race. We're third place. We're not far off. We're in a good position, and I think we're fine. And Miles, just one final point I wanted to make, that there's also a lot of talk about the Ashburton Army and their reduction in the allocation, and that they should get their allocation back, and that's why the atmosphere is rubbish this year. I think it was halved from 100 to 50 to keep in line with other supporting clubs. But I also feel that I also understand there's been some behavioural issues that have also meant that they had their allocation reduced. Now, I think they're great. I think they've added something. I think it's good. It's something different. But they're not everyone's cup of tea. And you know, everyone enjoys football in a different way. And the one thing I often come across is like, oh yeah, they should have their allocation back. But why are they more deserving than anyone else? And unfortunately, I've got engaged with people on X, Twitter, and I ask, okay, fine. If you give them more tickets, who loses out? Are you prepared to lose your ticket? Are you prepared to give up your chance for a ticket so Ashburton Army can have an extra ticket? And funnily enough, no one has come back and, oh, yeah, they can have my ticket. No one says that. So season ticket holders are easy to say, here, have my ticket. You should give away this person's ticket, you know, over mine. There are 45,000 season tickets in the stadium. They are primarily responsible for the atmosphere, not the ballot winners, not the Ashburton Army, not the whatever you want to call tourist fans. And there you go. That's what I wanted to just say on the atmosphere. That's right. I just wanted to get off my chest. So sorry for the rant.
Absolutely fine. I think that they should give cheese season ticket away to the Ashburton Army. I think one more won't hurt, right?
That's harsh.
Very, very harsh. Yeah. I'll be interested. But this is just my opinion. It's how I feel. Be interested to know what you guys think on that.
Let me give you my opinion, right? So I sat in the clock end upper for the majority of last season, for my season.
You had a season ticket, Moss? I know that.
So last year, season ticket was in clock end upper 125, row 23. Won't tell you the seat number just in case someone ruins my life. But essentially, looking down on the Ashburton Army, right? And I mentioned the good vibes, the good weather, the great results we had. The atmosphere that we had in the clock end upper was only generated from the Ashburton Army last year. The atmosphere that we had in the clock end upper, the west stand, the east stand, and the north bank was only generated by the Ashburton Army. The Ashburton Army were the heartbeat of the clock end, and the atmosphere resonated around the whole stadium. And anyone can agree with me if they want, but that's what I feel. And the fact that their allocation has been cut, and I know Arsenal came out and said that there was a few issues with some of the members and whatever. I understand that they vet their members pretty well, but you can't stop one or two bad eggs coming through, right? People maybe get drunk at the football and they ruin it for everyone else, and that's potentially what's happened. And I do recall in the recent games seeing a big red barrier with, you know, the I don't even know what that thing's called, a barrier, I guess, that's been around the front where the drummer is. And so there must have been some issue or something wrong, but the fact of the matter is the Ashburton Army are a good thing for Arsenal Football Club. However, my flip side of this is, why can't we have a designated, like Celtic do up in Scotland, a designated stand or a designated area for the atmosphere? And I think Arsenal women do as well, right? They have like a designated area in the stadium that generates the atmosphere. Celtic have the Green Brigade, and it's amazing. You guys obviously have probably seen the tifos and the banners and everything. The atmosphere around the whole stadium is bouncing because of that one section. So why don't we do the same? Why don't we just make something similar? I don't know, something similar. Let's try it. There's no harm in doing that, right?
Yeah, they do it in MLS. So it's definitely something that we could try. I guess first I'll jump in and say that I completely agree with pretty much everything that Tab said that last time. So I guess that sort of balances the show out.
Thank you, Will.
Yeah, no problem.
The pint is in the post.
And to touch on again what Tab's also said, I know Maz is sort of sitting on the fence here, but if they are the heartbeat and they did get, you know, sort of clock in going, would you give your ticket up every week for them to do that? Because I would need
to give up my ticket every week because I can just grind and sit on that ticket exchange for hours.
No. Every ticket that comes up, it goes to them. So you will never get it because it's going to go to them.
Until the recent allocation from last year. In all honesty, no one in the right mind would say, yeah, here, take my ticket. There you go. Have it.
A real fan would.
No, but that's my point. Everyone's saying, "Oh, give them their allocation back," but they don't actually go, "Oh, yeah, but not you can't have my ticket." Well, I'm sorry, it has to be someone's if you give it back. But it's one element of this, and I don't want to focus on them. Like Moz said, that I think they're great and for the thing, they're good for the atmosphere. But then it's the reductive argument. The reason, and my main point was about the atmosphere. Well, the reason the atmosphere is no good this year because there's 50 left people, in the Ashburton Army, which is just nonsense. And that's it. I was trying to come away from that very minor argument to say that there's a bigger thing at play. It's the fact there's so many unique circumstances to last year. And then this year's different, and to keep harping on about the atmosphere last year, it's not that saying I don't want it to be great and all the rest of it. It's just that you have to understand the reasons behind it.
That was anomaly last year. It was something like, hey, everything came together.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like being an addict. The highs, you have to keep ramping up to get the highs, and there's only at some point you have the lows, and you just can't. You just can't keep going up. There will be a downside to it. Sorry, Moz.
Last point before we move on, because I'm conscious of time and I don't want people to not hear this last part because it's hilarious. But I'm very conscious of the fact that the Ashburton Army are not, adding another 25 or 50 Ashburton Army members or whatever they call themselves will increase the atmosphere. And people who blame the ballot system, it's not true. Like you say, we have 45,000 plus season ticket holders that create the atmosphere around the ground. But I just wanted to agree with you, Wale, on that point that circumstances have changed. There's more demand and more pressure on the team as well this year. There's more nervousness around the ground, which was evident when you hear about me shouting Red Army as loud as I can last week and no one replies. This time last season, and when I was doing it, everyone was responsive. It's just nerves around the ground. It's anticipation. And this year it's more like we finished second. We almost won the league. We ran City very close and we were top for most of it. But this year we need to go that one step further. We need to win something big, and not the league or the milk or the Carabao or the Red Bull Cup, whatever you want to call it. We need to win something meaningful, something that will get us into either the Champions League again or the Community Shield.
No, stop it with the Community Shield. Stop it, man. You shouldn't have these opinions on the League Cup and keep going on about the Community Shield.
I'm with you on that one. Well, there we go.
Let's move on. Let's move on. Final point of the pod. Not related to Arsenal, but kind of related to Arsenal. Klopp, Jurgen Klopp, right? He's leaving Liverpool at the end of the season. The funniest part of this whole thing was that Andrea, Chi and I were on a call this earlier on this week, the day that the news got announced, and we had just typed up some notes, and I just said to Andrea, right, type in Jurgen Klopp, and Chi just so innocently just said, what do you mean about Jurgen Klopp, guys? He didn't even realise that Jurgen Klopp had left. It was just so funny that I heard someone's reaction so fresh, and I might figure out how to clip it to the end of this podcast, so stick around until the end and you'll be able to hear cheese naivety. There must be a word we can use for that. Instead of cheese naivety, we can say the chaivety of not knowing about
trademark building.
I just want to give my opinion, and then I'll go down in order of Chi, Andrea, Wale, who's on my screen, and then we'll wrap it up. So my opinion is going to be very unpopular. I am ecstatic. I am buzzing. I don't give a hoot about what is going on unless it is medical. Can I just put it out there? Unless it is something medical, unless Jurgen Klopp is gravely unwell or he's not, something like that, then my sympathies genuinely go out to him and his family, and fair play. But if it's just because he's not got enough energy, right? He's been there, 9 years? Lord, Sir, King Arsene was there for double, if not more, than what Jurgen Klopp was. And the media didn't give this much love to Arsene Wenger when he announced he was going. So why should Jurgen Klopp get the love? Arsene Wenger did more and is a better manager than Jurgen Klopp will ever be. Hands down, right? I don't understand the reaction from some Arsenal fans. I'm not going to call anyone out. I'm not going to read out any messages that I've received or anything. And I've told you this will be unpopular, but Jurgen Klopp leaving is bloody fantastic for Arsenal Football Club. Jurgen Klopp leaving is fantastic for the Premier League because they're going to go through a transition period. Even if they get Xabi Alonso, I should say, a transition period will ensue. Mo Salah won't stick around with the unknown in the next few months about who's going to be the next manager. Contracts are expiring for some players, but overall, I just think it's amazing news. And I want to put a disclaimer in there before I hand over to you, Chi. It is only amazing news if it's not because he's seriously ill. If he is unwell, I will change my opinion straight away. But if it's just because he's lost a bit of energy and essentially to me, he's giving up when the going's good because he knows he's going to maybe potentially win the Europa League and the Premier League, and then he'll bow out. But he's obviously going to go and take up another job if he's not unwell. So yeah, that's my opinion. I don't want to say too much. And Jurgen Klopp, if you're listening, would Jurgen Klopp listen to the Grove? Probably not, but you never know. Stranger things have happened. If you're listening, we do wish you all the best if it's illness. If not, then I don't want to say the word, but yeah, just Chi, on you go.
Cheerio is the word I think you're looking for.
I'll be design, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, Jurgen Klopp, I was really surprised. I thought you guys were pulling my leg. So yeah, it's big news. I agree with you. I think it's great news for Arsenal and the rest of the Premier League, or like all of their rivals. He's like such a big character. He's had such a big impact on that club. So obviously, as an Arsenal fan, I'm glad he's leaving. I think he said it's not medical. Like in his interview he gave on Friday, he said it's not like he hasn't got like a serious illness or anything like that. So I think you're okay on that point. Yeah, I think it's going to have a positive impact on Liverpool for the rest of the season, though. I think it's going to galvanise the team and the players and the club even more. And you know what it's like with Liverpool, you do get that love in that sickness, but it does seem to work. There is something about Anfield and the atmosphere and all of that and getting big results. So I'm worried about the impact it's going to have for the rest of the season. But yeah, longer term, I think it's going to be positive for us, basically. So, and Klopp, yeah, I respect what he's done. I've got to give him his props for what he's achieved, winning all the big major trophies. So I guess Liverpool fans will have that over Arsene Wenger, right? Because Arsene Wenger didn't win the Champions League or the League Cup, actually. So but I agree, obviously. Wenger's my man, obviously, so he did an amazing job transforming our club for a longer period of time, like Moss said. So yeah, that's my views on Klopp.
I mean, look, if he's lost energy, surely he should have a ton of product from being in the Carabao Cup final. So come on. But I think like Jim, I do respect him. He's done a great job. I don't mind him. Yes, he's good. The media loving does make me gag every now and then, and it's just going to be rammed down our throats for the next four months. But and actually, you talked about Wenger. I wish Wenger had left a bit earlier in a similar sort of manner. So it would have been nice rather than him the way he did leave. But anyway, in terms of Klopp, it could work two ways. It could galvanise them. It could give them the extra 1%. Hey, let's do it for Jurgen, and they'd be all coming. Or it could be a distraction, the hype and the noise. Yeah. Will players be committed because there's a new manager coming as much? I think, we mentioned it here, contracts are coming up, people are aging, people might be leaving, who knows, what happens, and one final point, look, there's been a rivalry between Pep and Klopp. So if Pep wants to one-up Klopp, can you go and bugger off as well while you're at it? So leave it all to Arteta. But there we go. So he's been a great manager, respect him, but let's hope it turns into a distraction.
Yeah, I'm right there with you guys, to be honest, man. I mean, so for what she say, it's not medical, so I wish him well. I'm happy to see him go. That's what I prefer to see. Now, to bring it back to what Tom said earlier, yeah, I could see him going out. Maybe they win the quad, and here's a hot take. That's the best Premier League season ever. If you win 4 competitions, that's better than winning 3. I don't care that one's the Europa League and one's the Champions League. They go out, they win the quad. They've had the best year ever, all time.
Yeah, and he's going to cherish the Carabao Cup the most.
It's the quad. It's the quad. It's better than cherishing top 2, top 4. Like, you remember when top 4 was a trophy and how everybody laughed, how that was, what are you even talking about? But now top 2 is a trophy.
That can be another podcast episode, because you guys can argue, like I say, until the cows come home about this. And the Grove is going to turn into a podcast of who does it better, Liverpool or City. And we don't want that, because we all know it's Arsenal. I've been Moz, your host. Chi, Andrea, Whale, thank you so much for joining me again.
Thank you very much.
You guys in the next one.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Cheers. Bye-bye.